Spence doesn't have any connections. I mean, who does PBC still going?
Yeah, sort of. It's funny you mentioned PBC and we mentioned Pacquiao. There's talks of Rolly Romero Manny Pacquiao possibly happening, and that would be under the PBC.
Wow.
They will have something to do with the circus that is Tank Davis and Jake Paul. So they are around, and they have a relationship with Amazon. Um, you know, tomorrow Danny Garcia is fighting. I'm not sure
Oh man,
if
I'll go into
they
that
have
in a little
something to do
bit.
with
Danny
that.
Garcia and Daniel
Hmm.
Gonzalez. Daniel Gonzalez, not much of a fighter. Anyway, I'm about to run to a break. Hug the wife, hug the kids. Have a great week. We'll talk soon.
Thank you for having me on, my brother. Oh, and by the way,
But
rest in peace to Alex Wallow.
oh, that's right. I will mention that. Thank you so much. Straight up, you are tuned to Ring Talk Live Worldwide. Your inside look at the world of boxing and MMA. That is Boxing's PhD, Mr. Socrates Palmer. This is Ring Talk.
This is a true, sad story for ADT, the leader in home security systems. My favorite dog, Oliver, was stolen from our garage recently. If I had a camera system installed in my home from ADT, I would have known exactly what car possibly pulled up in my driveway and stole my little friend. If I had a security system from ADT, my dog would still be here. I called ADT this weekend, and they're coming out in a few days to install a camera and a new security system. Unfortunately, it's a little too late for me. Listen, protect everyone you love in your family. Call ADT now. Have them come out and give you a quote to install a full security system in your home. Don't let it be too late for you. Call right now.
Paid for by the Home Security Hotline. 800-361-3491. 800-361-3491. 800-361-3491. That's 800-361-3491.
Hello, Americans. It's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business. Our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your IRS debt for far less than what you owe. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a free $500 IRS tax review. Don't wait. Here's the number.
Call right now. 800-943-9215. 800-943-9215. 800-943-9215. Again, for the last time, that's 800-943-9215. Do you have a book? Get it out of your mind and make it a real book with a free guide to book publishing. Trying to publish a book yourself can be complicated. It takes a lot of time. Time that you could spend writing your book or even more books. Do what you do best. We can do the rest. Thousands of authors across the nation have trusted our book publishing service. We have the connections to help you get your book printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple Books, Barnes & Noble, and bookstores nationwide. We can do it faster than you can on your own. Get your free guide to publishing. It's a free phone call. Remember, make this free call right now and learn how to turn your book into something real that people can buy. Get your free writer's guide. Call right now. 800-482-8399. 800-482-8399. 800-482-8399. That's 800-482-8399.
Now, more of Ring Talk with Pedro Fernandez.
How much money did you spend to fight those RICO cases?
A lot. Friends and family help. Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, we're going up against the United States government. My lawyer used to say it in his own, they won 3 world wars, they print their own money, and they got all the resources in the world. How the f*** are you going to go against indicting you? Listen, they did it to me. I beat the fucking Sedano murder. I got indicted the next day, the same fucking murder in Newark federal court. I had to go to trial again, a month trial.
I mean, yeah, if you look at, a federal indictment, it'll say the United States versus.
Yeah.
You're going against the whole country.
The whole country. They print their own money. They just put the machine on.
Right. I mean, when you think about how much you spent, was it hundreds of thousands of dollars? Millions of dollars?
A lot of money. Yeah, I had to sell everything. Sold jewelry, fucking everything. I'm fighting for my life.
Joey Merlino, king of the Philadelphia mob, back in the 90s, and of course still today. Of course, he went to jail for a while, so he was like ruling from the pen. But the bottom line is, in 1990, I was at a fight. I think it was the Ray Mercer, Tommy Morrison fight in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and we went to an undercover club. In other words, like an after-hours club. It was sort of illegal. I don't know. Anyway, bottom line is there weren't any cops at the door or anything like that. So you sort of went in, they looked at you, you paid them like $10, something like that. But the bottom line is we went in there, and everybody was in there. I mean, everybody from the fight. So I didn't know a whole lot of people in Atlantic City. Of course, one of my first trips to AC. So I'm kicking back, and I'm having a drink with some girl, and some kid walks over and grabs the drink right in front of me, the drink that I was drinking, and drank it down. I said, what the duck? What duck with an F? What's going on here? Bottom line is, I grabbed him by the chest. It turned out to be Michael Buffer's kid. So I'm ready to roll on him, and I don't like grabbing people, see, because when you grab people, that makes them close enough to scratch you and that kind of good stuff. So you don't want to get scratched. But I had no choice. We're in a nightclub, okay? So I had to grab him this way. Anyway, security jumps up around me. I don't know what's going on, but security's all jumping around me. There's some people moving behind me the whole 9 yards. I can't figure things out. Anyway, it turns out, I'll tell you what, Michael Buffers came over and paid for the drink, so I let his kid go. But the bottom line is, it turned out that Joey Merlino was sitting at the table next to me. I didn't know that. And all the security guys, they thought that the fight or the argument that I was having with Buffer Jr. was a diversion in order to whack Joey, because they all jumped up. One guy had a gun in his hand. I said, whoa, what's going on? Anyway, bottom line is, that's 1990, Atlantic City, no question about that. Speaking of back in the days, of course, one of the guys that was really a class act in the world of boxing was the president of ABC Sports for a while. I'm talking about Mr. Alex Walla. Of course, he began in 1976. He worked basically under Roone Arledge at that point in time. Of course, Roone Arledge was like the guru of wide world of sports, all that kind of good stuff. But he won Emmy Awards working with boxing. Boxing, of course, him and Howard Cosell were partners. Of course, Cosell, a guy that I got to interview at one point in time here in the city by the Bay when he came to town for a heavyweight fight. And, he wasn't the most candid guy in the entire world. But then again, he was Howard Cosell. Anyway, in 1986, after Howard Cosell's retirement, Alex Walla became ABC's boxing analyst. And of course, the Boxing Writers of America gave him an award as a top boxing journalist, blah, 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 in this first year and that kind of good stuff. But he was a good guy, no doubt about that. He passed away. Of course, he retired in 2020, but he passed away at the age of 80 this week, and wish him the very best luck. Let me tell you about this guy. He was so tough that he kicked cancer's ass. I mean, he had throat cancer, and he kicked his ass. I mean, it was like 25 years ago. And he didn't look the same afterwards. His neck sort of looked like, like it had been torn up by radiation and chemotherapy, that kind of good stuff. But he actually lived. He lived I would say he lived maybe 30 years after hitting the cancer thing. So more power to him, and may he rest in peace. Now, Devin Haney, the guy from the city by the Gay. Oh, did I say that? No, San Francisco. Bottom line, city by the Bay. You know what I'm trying to say. Devin Haney has always had a bit of a limp wrist to me. I always thought so. Bottom line, he's 32-0, 15 KOs. Of course, taking on Brian Norman Jr. People think Brian Norman's got a good shot here to win. In fact, I think he's might be even slightly favored in some sports books. We'll take a look at that after the break. But the bottom line is, he's fighting in Saudi Arabia. Anything can happen over there in Saudi Arabia. Of course, that's where the world scam's going on. I'm talking about world scam being Dana White and the Sheik Turkey Jerky and those kind of guys. I mean, they're just bad people, man. They're trying to control boxing now. In fact, I think they've got a stranglehold, or about to have a stranglehold on the world of boxing, if they get all these athletic commissions to recognize that they are the real boxing league in that per se. And we don't need a boxing league. Let me tell you, if we go to the system, I'll say it again. If we go to the system, fighters will be pimped off. Oh, man, you keep using up that pimp word. Let me tell you like this. You don't think they get pimped? Francis Ngannou sold out Madison Square Garden, 22,000 people. 22,000 people. $7 million gate. Guess how much money he got? $500,000 of a $7 million gate. That's not much money. Then you go, take it back. Dana felt good. Massa Dana from the UFC plantation, he decided he would give Francis Ngannou a $50,000 bonus. Whether he got a cut of the pay-per-view has never been acknowledged publicly or anything like that. So I'm tending to think that he didn't, because if he did, he would be talking about it, right? No. Francis Ngannou decides he's going to give up the UFC heavyweight title. Stick it up your anus. That's what he told Dana White. So he goes over to the MMA thing over in the East in Asia. He hooks up with them. And at the same time, he does a deal with, of course, boxing. When he does a deal with Anthony Joshua. Of course, that was a fight he lost. He got knocked out in that last boxing match, that second boxing match. But the first one, he knocked down Tyson Fury. And Tyson Fury, I believe, was the linear world heavyweight champion. Knocked him down, and I thought he licked him like a stamp. And of course, anytime the heavyweight champion anytime a champion steps into the ring, there's no such thing as a non-title fight in my mind. It just don't happen that way. Anyway, Brian Norman, 28. No, I wish him the very best of luck because the last thing we need is another run by Devin Haney. Of course, Devin Haney is 32-0, but everybody remembers that ass kicking Ryan Garcia played on him. I mean, come on, man. If Ryan and him were, if Devin is gay and Ryan were gay, Ryan would have been arrested for domestic violence that night. I mean, knocked him down, abused him, stood over him, dogged him the whole 9 yards. Of course, Haney was hugging and holding all that kind of good stuff. 32-0, 15 knockouts. Born here in San Francisco, California. Tells people he's from Oakland. He's got a problem identifying with the city by the bay, San Francisco. More power to him. But the bottom line is, we don't identify much with him at all. I mean, he is what he is. Of course, November 22nd is the day that David Benavidez, my man, the best fighter pound for pound in the entire world. There's no doubt about it. The world light heavyweight champion, of course, the guy that nobody wants to fight at 175. Nobody wanted to fight him at 168. Of course, he was the guy that was the number one contender for Canelo Alvarez, not for 1 year, not for 2 years, not for 3 years, but for a long time, 3.5, almost 4 years. And what did they do? They screwed him over. They never gave him the title fight. Instead, they let Canelo fight Terrence Crawford. I mean, that just stunk really, really bad. It just did. And, I've got a problem with the fact that Canelo got a pass like that. I'm not a big guy giving guy passes. I mean, you can to an extent, and you gave him a pass. You let him have all kinds of clown fights with all these different Tijuana cab drivers. Jaime McGee, I can go on and on. But the bottom line is, or Edgar Berlanga, who came. The Puerto Rican guy came to fight. Puerto Rican versus Mexican, right? Sounds like a war. That's what it used to be, the war of nationalities, right? That Puerto Rican laid down like a dog. He just did. He got knocked down in one round, but he finally went. I could hear Edgar Berlanga. He was like 25-0, 26-0 with like 19, 20 knockouts. So at some point in time, he was like 19-0 with 19 knockouts. I mean, he had a credible record going there. But the bottom line is, he turned out to be a bit of an overrated guy that was afraid to drop. He wouldn't drop the gun. He wouldn't pull the trigger. I mean, look at that against Canelo. He never threw a punch with bad intentions. He never did. And you know what? You don't wait when you're in big fights, when you're in fights in general, you don't wait on anything. You don't. I mean, maybe if you got 15 rounds, but I don't think you wait on anything. Amateur fights, you got to go out there and search yourself right away. Of course, some guys say, the first round, we just, like Angelo Dundee, the great trainer, told me that he wanted the guys to go out and get the first round over with and came back, and then they would plan things and this and that. I don't know. I think, you got to have your act together from the very start. I don't think you get one round to play around. But the bottom line is, you've got to assert yourself from the start in the world of boxing, whether it's an amateur fight, whether it's a professional fight. And speaking of professional fights, is Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis a professional fight? I mean, come on. How can you have two guys, like one guy like weighing in like 200 pounds, the other guy weighs like 135 pounds, and maybe that's a bit of a stretch at 135. Maybe if he was disciplined, I'm talking about Gervonta Davis, of course, the kid he's full of problems. Domestic violence issues, always smacking women around. I mean, the guy smacks more women than per se, but let me put this in a way where I won't get sued. He has hit more women. He's hit a lot of women. He's hit more than one woman. Is that a good way to put it? He's hit more than one. If he's hit more than one, he's hit more than one. He's hit more than one. Okay, he's got all kinds of different. He's got out of it this way, got out of it that way, got out of this money. Basically, his money. But the bottom line is, of course, now he's going to take on Jake Paul, and Jake Paul, of course, be the clown face of boxing. And I think that's a good way to put it. Maybe the clown prince of boxing. Call him what you want, but the bottom line is, of course, this guy draws big numbers. Why? I don't know. He can't fight. He can't fight. He ain't that good looking. He doesn't have a body like Adonis. He sort of looks like an average white guy that says, "Oh, you know what, man? I think I want to box." I mean, that's basically what it is. Okay, and yet he's able to capture 8 or 10 million people. I think that fight with the last fight he had on Netflix is like 10 million people. 10 million people tune in to watch that, but they won't watch a real boxing match, and that's because there really aren't any real boxing matches to promote anymore. Why is that? Canelo Alvarez doing his thing with David Benavidez. Nobody wants to fight anybody significant. They don't. They want to keep getting passes. Jaron Ennis, the guy that jumped from 147 to 154, he didn't clean house at 147. Tommy D gives him a pass, or Thomas Dillon with the Sunday shot caller, he gives him a pass. But the bottom line is, I don't think you can give him a pass. We're calling him the number one ranked junior middleweight in the world. Of course, that's what Box Record's calling him, and Tommy D's calling him this and that. I just don't think so. I think you've got to prove something. He hasn't proved at 147, what did he do? I just caught a flea in it. I just caught a fly in my hand. I did. That was pretty good. Those of you in the studio that listen on the radio, a fly just went boom on me, and I grabbed him and I caught him. That was pretty cool. So he's dead. Vietnamese toast. This is Ring Talk Live Worldwide. I'm not usually catching flies in the studio, but that just happened to fly past me at that point in time, so that was a bit of a trip. Anyway, Saudi Arabian influence on boxing, of course, that is Dana White and his Muhammad Ali Boxing Revival Act. It's not good. Sheikh Turkey Jerky is paying people money. And you know what's funny? Is that the aforementioned Mauricio Silliman, Suleiman or Suleiman? Which one is it, impeccable one? Suleiman? He don't know. Bottom line is, depends on the day. Depends on the hour of the day. All right? But the bottom line is, he's going to get it he's going to get it. You know what I'm saying? He's going to get it back. So he's going to get it. He's going to be done. They're going to get